I think it's time for something new. So, hi guys, welcome back to a new Photoshop tutorial. My name is Manny. You can still find me on Twitter at MannyPhoto. Sorry for the mic, this is just a better sound quality, so I've chosen to go with this microphone today. Anyways, today I'm going to show you guys another creative retouching. We're going to take one of my portraits, we're going to cut out some glasses from that portrait and merging those glasses into another portrait from two ladies. So yeah, quick and easy, a few different techniques how to comp stuff in and out. We're going to work with some pen tools, masks and brushes, and that's it. Yeah, let's get started. Alright, so I've imported now both images into Photoshop. As you guys can see here on the left hand side we have a canvas, and here on the right hand side, so I've got both images in Photoshop already. Now before I start retouching this, I also just want to mention that I've used exactly the same light settings for both images, and I also retouched them both exactly with the same settings and with the same retouching techniques. So as you guys can see, they look pretty similar, and also color correction, skin tones and everything is pretty much going in the same direction. So if I would take her glasses now and move them over to her and merge them in, I do not need to do another color correction, maybe a little bit, but I wouldn't necessarily, because everything is pretty much set already. Alright, so let's get started now. So first of all, what I'm going to do again here, I'm going to take my background layer, basically hold shift and just drag this background layer directly here onto my second or the first canvas, drop it, and as you guys can see now we have two different layers. I'm going to take this Nadia canvas over here and just close that. I don't need that anymore. I'm going to press F now for full screen mode and just move this a little bit into the center. Okay, now first step that I want to do is also here take my background layer and just unlock that. I'm just going to double click on that, say yes, layer 0, I'm fine with that. Okay, back to layer 1. What I want to do basically now is scale layer 1 a little bit. As you guys can see, if I move this over now, or if I even just take the opacity down a little bit, you will see this is most probably a little bit too big, maybe just a little tint too big. Okay, so let's zoom in with the Z a little bit closer here. Okay, I'm going to press V again for my move tool, and I'm just going to try to put this almost into the right position. So it's maybe just a little bit, like I said. I'm still going to keep my opacity to 60%. Maybe just going to go to Navigator here, zoom out a little bit, press Command T to just transform all of that. I'm going to press Shift again, so everything merges together. I'm going to take the box here and just make it like a smidgen smaller. Okay, accept that from the top again. And now Photoshop has run that, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer here again. And now again on layer 1, I'm just going to try to put that almost in the same direction. So let's move that all the way down. So her eyes around here. We can actually go here to the top and just drag a help layer line down till to the center of her eyes. And then we can take layer 1 again and just move that up a little bit. Okay, that's almost correct. So I'm actually pretty happy with that. I can work with that now at the moment. So what I'm going to do now again, I'm going to again go on layer 1 and take the opacity all the way up. And I'm first of all going to work now with my pen tool around her glasses, and also a little bit more down here under the glasses, because I do want to add the shadows as well onto her face. As you guys can see over here, we do not have any shadows, and we can either add shadows later, or we can try to also copy these shadows from here. Just watch out for the skin tones here, so that we still have texture there and that everything copies with, and that we don't overbrush it. More of that later. Okay, so let's start out with our pen tool. First of all, I'm going to go over here, select the pen tool, and just going to go super close now. And just going around the glasses with the pen tool very easily. Just going to make a path around the glasses here. Step back, and obviously, as you guys know already, this does take a little bit of practice. But once you are a little bit better with the path tool, pen tool, it's really easy to work with this. Okay, so down here is a little bit of shadows. I do want to actually add the shadows in, so I'm going to just make a rough path around here, go all the way around again to the glasses here, and we're just going to continue right on the frame here from the glasses. Okay, maybe over here as well. We can still see if we're going to brush in that later or not. I'm not too sure at the moment, so let's just do it like that, and then we're going to continue with this. So obviously I'm leaving out the shadows now, but we're going to work with a mask in the moment, so then we can always just brush it in and out. Over here, okay, wait, let me just go a step back with backspace. select the last box, backspace, and I'm going to select the last one over here and just go roughly around here again, because I do know that I'm going to definitely include that. Okay, a little bit more over here. Okay, and we're going to go all the way around. A little bit higher. Okay, a little bit more. And I also do want to include this white rim light here from the glasses, so be sure to cut that in as well. Okay, and now I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer here with the navigator again, and I want to hold command and just move this transaction or this path actually a little bit closer in. Okay, let's go a little bit around. You can always zoom in a little bit. A little bit more. Go all the way around here. So I'm super close in now. It's actually easier for me to work like this instead of working outside or more zoomed out. So it's always like a little bit of a preference for yourself. If you want to work a bit closer, do it. If you want to work a little bit more outside, I actually tend to use both, inside or zoom in and out. Now as you guys can see, the path also goes up again. I'm going to hold Alt now, select this little path over here and just drag the line down again, so my next path stroke will go into this direction and not upwards. Okay, and like select it over here. I'm going to zoom over a little bit. A little bit more, and one more, and one more. Okay, and then just complete the path again over here, and that's it. Now that we got a complete path, I can press Z again to zoom out a little bit again, and we already have our rough path around her glasses. As you guys can see also now, I didn't include her eyebrows because I think the eyebrows from underneath here are just a little bit better. So as we guys can also now switch off the layer 1 here again, so you can already see where the glasses will be. So it's around the right position, maybe still a little bit too big or not, we can still scale it. Okay, go back to layer 1. Next step that we're going to do is press again M, or for our marking tool over here at the top left side. I'm going to go right click here. Actually, before we're going to do that, sorry, the star step, I'm going to go back to pen tool, and in pen tool I'm going to press right click. Now I'm going to go to make a selection out of this path, so make selection, 0 feathering, and I'm going to say OK. So now we have a selection. I can go back to my normal move tool here, and we're going to go down here to the mask tool, and we're just going to press a mask, and directly we have a mask here on our image. As you guys can see on the layer here, we've got a hidden mask, and everything that we still wanted to include is still visible. Okay, so we miss some shadows here and also at the bottom. Now we're going to brush in the shadows a little bit. Let's also quickly, before we do that, zoom out a little bit, have a look. The glasses are a little bit too big if you ask me. Let's first try with the brushes, with the shadows, and then if it's still too big we can scale the glasses. Okay, so select the brush again. I'm also now going to paint with the opacity of 100. I'm just going to zoom a little bit closer here and move a little bit over. As you guys can see also, the skin tones is a little bit more reddish and a little bit more orange. Maybe we do need to work a little bit here on the skin tones. Okay, zoom in a little bit more. I'm going to press B again for my brush and Control Alt together, and just scale my brush featherness or my hardness, set that to around 18 to 19%. And I'm also going to make my brush a little bit smaller, and just with, sorry, that was the wrong foreground color with white, so black foreground color. I'm just going to paint on that mask directly over here a little bit more. Okay, and just trying to include those shadows already. I'm going to make my brush a little bit smaller again. Okay, and just brush that carefully in, so it actually suits already a little bit. Let's also press X again to change our foreground color. So now I do want to paint a little bit over here in, so just getting a little bit of that skin back, and also here from the glasses, from that. Okay, just a little bit, so we can actually copy that directly from the image underneath, but we don't want to overdo it, just a little bit. Okay, a little bit more. So as you guys can see also, I'm just painting with the edge of my brush, just a little bit. That's the nice thing, if we're painting also here on the mask, we can always go back and forth. Now I switched again my foreground colors. I'm very roughly on 100% opacity, going to brush that out here at the bottom. Okay, a little bit more, and it looks very hard here. Okay, let's actually paint out a little bit more because it's maybe easier painting it back in from the frame. Okay, we can also zoom out always to have a look if that suits it or not. Okay, let's press B again, brush here. I'm just going to paint out a little bit more. Okay, I'm now going over the frame already. Press X again, and now exactly the same opposite. And I'm also going to go with opacity of say 80%, not that strong. Okay, paint over here, a little bit more. And now I'm just going to do a few strokes again over here, getting that frame in. Sorry, getting the shadow in. A little bit more. Okay, that's enough already. Okay, let's zoom out a little bit, have a look at that. So far it looks quite good on the right hand side, a little bit better than on the left hand side. So what I'm going to do over here again, go and paint those shadows out a little bit. So swap my foreground colors again with X, and we're going to paint with black just a little bit away. I know it's a whole back and forth thing, but I think it's also a little bit of practice so you get it right. Okay, and then switch foreground colors again a little bit, painting that again with just 80% opacity in. Okay, so that's good so far. Let's zoom out a little bit again. And now one big mistake that we can actually over here see already on the right hand side. Over here you have all the shadows, and on the left hand side as well her skin. So the original image was actually like this, so her face goes out here, which would you obviously see in the glasses that her face will continue here. So we need to also brush that out a little bit. Okay, so for that I'm going to go back in again, and first of all I'm just going to press move tool and remove that line. It's a bit irritating. Okay, with Z zoom in a little bit closer again, and I'm going to create with a path pen tool again, just a rough path in here and then all the way up again, and I can then just brush that in very roughly. Okay, so select pen tool, we zoomed in a bit closer. Okay, we're just going to go around here, create a path again, all the way down. So we just have a nice clean edge here on the frame. On the skin we can always work it in with a brush. A little bit more, and then I'm just going to go roughly over here, still including her eyes. Okay, and on the other hand side, or first of all I'm just going to make a right click here, make selection, okay, and I'm just going to with B make my brush a little bit bigger, 100% opacity. I'm not going to create a new mask here, obviously we have already a mask on the layer, so I'm just going to with the black foreground color paint this out very roughly. Okay, over here I'm removing that. I can press Command D, get out of that selection, and if the edge is still not too good we can still go back in and just fix that a little bit. Okay, so as you guys can see now we have a skin tones are completely different, so we still need to work that a little bit. Zoom in a little bit closer again, press B again with your brush. I'm going to go with 50% opacity and just very slowly brush that in over here and also from the top. Okay, and my brush is also completely feathered. So let's have a look how good that is. Maybe we need to brush out even more. I think that is even better if we brush out more and just include her eye and don't even go too far in. Okay, a little bit here, and that slowly fades into the right skin here. Here at the bottom I still need to work that, so I'm going to make my brush super small. Just go very carefully in here. Okay, and just with a few taps in here in between there. And also take my opacity down to say 40%, a little bit more, say around 30%, and just tapping my way through here. So don't include those eyes. I think if we also take the skin tones right down, let's switch again to white, so I do want to bring a little bit texture back here. Okay, then I'm just going to tap a little bit again, and definitely need to work a little bit more on the skin tones here. Okay, let's go to the right hand side. I also do exactly the same. So I'm going to press P for pen tool again and zoom in a little bit closer as well. Okay, and then we're going to go all the way around the frame again. A little bit more. Okay, with spacebar we're going to move around in our image. Okay, a little bit more. And I think for this time I was going to include a little bit more down here from the frame. I can always, like I said, brush that back on our mask. Okay, a little bit up. and now just very roughly going to close that path again. Okay, select the path, press right click, make a selection. Okay, zero feathering in there because I do want to have a hard edge here. Feathering I could use actually on this side, but obviously we'll have feathering everywhere, so no feathering at all. Okay, press B for your brush, wrong foreground color. I'm going to switch that to black again. Opacity back to 100%, that's very important now. And then we're just really roughly going to brush her skin away. Okay, we get that super bright skin already from outside. And now press Command D, get out of that selection. If we're going to zoom out, that looks completely wrong. Let's just zoom in again. Okay, press B again. Take your opacity down to say 50%, and now we're slowly going to work this in and also try to work some of her dark skin tones into this light skin tone over here. 50%, okay, and I'm also going to make my brushes super small, super feathered, hardness around say 10-15%, and then just super easy brush that in here. And make your brush a little bit bigger, and again I'm not painting with the center of my brush, just with the outside. And this is getting a bit tougher here at the top, so we still need to work that in. The bottom it looks a little bit easier. Okay, let's just paint that. Okay, switch back to 10% and just very slowly brushing that in. So it's a little bit brighter again. I'm just tapping my way through here, not too much, just tap, 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 just to lighten that a little bit. Okay, switch again with X foreground colors and just painting this back. I'm going to make the brush actually 60% so it's a bit stronger on the frame here. We do want to have a little bit of shadows in here as well, so it's a bit more realistic. Okay, I'm also going to switch my opacity now again down to say just 30 or 20%, somewhere around there, say 22%, make a brush a little bit bigger. And now we're obviously painting on the ladies on the darker skin tones, so I'm just going to tap, tap, tap again and try to brush those darker skin tones in. A little bit more. Tap, 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 so that just fades in a little bit easier over here. So again, 1 or 2 drops, tap, tap. Switch again foreground colors, and I'm going to take those all the way down to say just 9%, make the brush super big, and just paint with the outside of the brush. Another tap, another tap. This is now just for the skin tone, obviously. Okay, and you guys can see that the frame here doesn't look too good. So press B again, switch the foreground colors, 100% opacity. I'm going to do 00, so we have 100% opacity here, and just very carefully brush that. We could have actually saved our selection here, so we can easily always paint on the frame, but I was now too lazy to do that. Okay, just over here, paint that back. Okay, now it's getting a bit sloppy here. Come on, Manny. Control Alt, super hardness. So it's super, super hard. Switch your foreground colors again. Okay, and just break that little bit of shadow out. Okay, now that wasn't too good, so press Command Z, just go step back, or obviously to your history channel or history panel over here. Okay, so I'm going to press Z now again, zoom out. It's not perfect yet, I still need to work a little bit on it here, especially over there, it looks a bit patchy. So let's select the mask again, brush, and I'm also going to paint again with just 10% opacity, or say, yeah, around 10%, 8, 9, 10%. Tap, tap, tap. And I'm hopefully brushing that away a little bit. Okay, let's also have a look before and after so far. Before and after. Okay, and the glasses look a little bit too big still. So maybe press Command T again and just make that a little bit smaller. Okay, let me scale that over a little bit. Also watch out with the skin tones again that we did earlier. Okay, maybe the glasses need to go up a little bit over here. A little bit more. Okay, that's about good. I'm going to press OK again and just put them into that position. Now again, one last step that I'll still just do is just go into adjustments here and create a new levels adjustment layers with holding Alt. So with Alt, or we can also select the levels layer and now go between the layers over here, select Alt again, and they will clip together. Now we can try moving our highlight sliders up just a little bit. Not that it gets too patchy. and our dark slider here down a little bit to create a little bit of contrast in those eyes, just a little bit. Okay, I'm going to zoom in, also select my mask again, zoom in a little bit over here. I just want to touch up here a little bit. Press B again for brush, and now also just tap, tap, tap with, again, black foreground color, tapping just this out a little bit. Okay, and I'm now also going to go back to my levels adjustment layer here. I'm going to go back to the top to adjustments and go to hue and saturation. Then I'm going to take out the reds a little bit. So I'm going to go to master and just into the reds, and that should also just clip to our mask. So select alt again, go between your layers, so that will clip again just to your mask layer here. Okay, so now back to saturation, and I'm just going to take the saturation out a little bit. If we take it all the way down, you guys can see directly where we're working in. So let's take that up a little bit more. I must actually zoom out a little bit for this, so I'm going to press Z, zoom out, and now with my saturation turn that all the way down, a little bit more up. Okay, say to -7, -6, somewhere around there. That looks about good. Okay, yeah, so I'm not 100% satisfied now with this, but it looks good already. Maybe scale the glasses down a little bit more, but nonetheless, this is basically the techniques that I would use to retouch this. Later at some stage, maybe still take all of these layers here, press Command G, put them together in a group, and just say again, that is the basic retouch. Okay, so again, like I showed you now, this is obviously select all of these, Command G again, just to show it to you guys easier, our before here and after, our before and after. Okay, yeah, so basically, like I said, this is not 100% yet perfect. I would still retouch a little bit on this, but it's all the techniques that I would use to retouch something like this. Maybe don't forget to add 1 or 2 more shadows, but that's all. Alright, yeah, so that's basically it for today's tutorial, guys. Please give me a thumbs up if you did like my content. Leave me a comment down below. I would like to hear what you guys think about this tutorial. And then also, guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to find some more awesome content. And don't miss out on our contest day. See you all next time. Bye bye.